Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. You're watching Firewood at the Furnace, and my name is Brad. If it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. I hope you like what you see here, and if you do, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We're closing in on 4,000 subscribers. But as you can see today, I'm sitting in the garage, and that's because work in the wood yard has kind of been put on pause for just a little bit. Not permanently. We're going to bounce back and forth between the firewood and the new projects. But I just want to bring you up to speed and talk to you about the two new projects that I've got going on and why I'm sitting here in the garage and why some of the work is going to have to be done here for just a short period of time. But if you watched last week's video, then you know that I hinted to the fact that a skid loader may be coming to the yard. I had that conversation this past week with my buddy that I borrowed it from, and we did come to an agreement, and the skid loader is here. So I'm going to take you out here and give you a little walk around, but before I show you, I just want to forewarn you that it's not a modern skid loader. It's not a new skid loader, but it's something that works really well, and I've worked with it many times in the past. I've borrowed it many times in the past, and he has used it a good bit since he's owned it. He did paint it when he bought it to match his company colors, which were red and white. It was originally yellow, but what it is I believe it's a 97 or a 98 Gale 4625. And let me just spin you around here, and like I said, the paint is a little rough on it. It's not the prettiest thing, but it does run well. Everything works on it, and we're gonna fix the cosmetic stuff. It's kind of like my specialty. I always buy stuff that needs a facelift, and I always make it look nicer. So I'm gonna walk you around and tell you what my plans are, and I'll tell you what project number 2 is as well. So here it is. This is the new Firewood at the Furnace skid loader. And I've already started, you can see some of the paint's knocked off the cab there, but I've already started with the pressure washing and knocking all the grease and dirt and grime and just the nastiness that accumulated over the years. And like I said, he painted this when he got it, painted the cab white. It was originally gray. And so some of that white paint is coming off when I'm pressure washing it. But it's got good tires on it, and I'll show you what I've done so far. So when I bought it, the lap bar that comes down, the safety bar, one side of it was broke off and the other side was kind of a little weak. So I cut the bad stuff out, and don't hate on me for my welding skills because I've never claimed to be a welder. But I cut out the bad parts of that bar and welded in a new piece, so it's working good now. So we're going to clean up in there. We'll sand down some of that rough spots in the back. We're going to sand down the whole thing. Actually, I've already started on that as well too. But that's pretty much all I've done so far, was just fix that lap bar. I started sanding after I got done pressure washing. I did start sanding this back here so far. I'm just using a orbital sander here. See, the trailer's loaded up with pallets. That's project number 2 we're going to talk about here shortly. But anyway, it's got the quick attach bucket on it. And as I hinted to before, we worked out a deal to where I got several attachments with this thing. So the attachments that I got for it are this bucket, which is the same width as the machine. The widest part of the machine is the same width as the bucket. I also got a bucket that's even wider. It's a fairly new bucket that he gave me with the deal. I got a backhoe attachment, which I didn't even know they made such a thing, but it's got a hydraulic bucket on it. So I guess you use the boom and the tilt to articulate the boom, and then the hydraulics actually curl the bucket. I don't know that I'll ever use that, but it was part of the deal, so I took it. I also got a grapple, and I used the grapple on last week's, about a week and a half ago, when I was showing you that I cleaned up in last week's video. it worked really well. Picked up some good stuff that I got out of there, some of that big gnarly junky stuff that I hauled out. So 2 buckets, the backhoe, the grapple. I got a set of forks with it, and also got a snowplow with it. So it's a lot of attachments. I figured it up, and I think the attachments alone were probably worth between $3,000 and $4,000. I know that grapple that I got, and I'll take you over to the wood yard and show you the attachments here shortly. But I think that grapple is worth about $1,500. The buckets are worth anywhere from $500 to $800 a piece, and the forks are worth about $500, and that snowplow is probably about the same. But I'll take you over here and show you around, but let me tell you what my plan is moving forward. So the plan is to sand this whole thing down now that it's pressure washed, you know, roughly. I'm not trying to make it perfect, I'm just trying to make it presentable, something that looks a little nicer. Sand the whole thing down. I'm going to paint the cab gray. I'm going to paint what's red again. Everything on the back here that's white will be gray. The wheels will be gray with the red centers. And all the attachments will be painted gray as well. So basically everything that's white is going to be gray, and everything that's red is going to be red. And the yellow wheels, which came off, I guess they were, you know, this is a Gale machine, which is normally a yellow machine. So they'll be painted to match as well. And then once that's done, we'll get some decals made for it. I'm going to letter it up, put some of the original style decals on it with the model number on the boom and Gale on the rear. Maybe up there on the top of the cab, firewood at the furnace. What do you think? But yeah, that's the plan. And now I'm going to talk to you about project number 2. So now we're back at the wood yard. Brought you over here just to show you some of the attachments I got. Here's the set of forks. They're in that pallet there, but basically the length of the pallet, and everything's quick attached like I explained. The forks are adjustable inward and outward. Here's the grapple, which works really well. That skid loader also has the high flow adapters on it. You don't need it for the grapple, but I think you need those for like if you got a brush hog or something like that for it. I think that's what the high flow is. You guys can tell me. Here's the backhoe attachment that I was telling you about. It's pretty interesting. Obviously it attaches to the front of the loader right here. It just has a straight boom with a hydraulic cylinder on it to move the bucket in and out. My buddy that I bought it from said that he used it a couple times, and once you get the hang of it, it actually worked pretty well. So I don't know if I'll ever use that. I really don't think I have a need for it, but you never know, and I have it if I need it. And then here's the other bucket. This is the wider bucket that I was telling you about. I'm not really sure of the width of it, but it's substantially wider than the one that was on it. It might tell us here what the width of it is. I don't see it, but we can measure that another time. But these are all the attachments. 2 buckets, the backhoe, the grapple, the forks, and like I told you, I also got a snowplow attachment for it, which I haven't picked up yet, but I'll throw a picture of it here on the screen so you can see what that looks like. It's adjustable left and right for the angle. So I probably definitely will use that in the winter time to plow the driveways and even help my neighbors out a little bit. So now I'm gonna walk you down here and show you project number 2. I want to apologize for the camera angles today. I don't have my tripod with me. Actually, I broke my tripod. It's the second tripod that I've broken, and it breaks in the same place every single time. Right at the top where the 90-degree angle is that the attachment goes on to hold the phone holder. So there's a new one, or another one ordered. I probably should spend the money and get a decent one, but I keep buying the cheap ones on Amazon. By the time I buy a couple more, I could have just bought a good one. So whatever tripod you're using, if you like it, drop a link to that in the comments and maybe I'll consider buying that. But anyway, here's project number 2 down here where I keep my pallets and my IBC totes. You can see behind me, I've kind of got something mocked up here. So let me explain that to you. So yes, that skid loader sat outside much of its life, but I'm not going to allow it to sit outside. I've got all these pallets here, and you saw back at the house, I had all those other pallets on the trailer. I wanted to get all pallets the same size, and I've been doing some research on YouTube. And if you haven't seen these, you should check them out, because it sounds like a crazy idea. But once you watch a couple of these videos and learn how to do it, they actually look pretty good. But I'm going to build myself a pallet shelter, or a pallet shed, whatever you want to call it, for the skid loader. So what that is, it's about 8 foot wide, and it's going to be about 12 foot long, which is more than enough room for the skid loader to fit inside of. I can put some other tools in there, and things like that. But it's going to be two pallets high, which will make it just shy of 8 foot tall. And then I'm going to put a roof on it, a metal roof. I've got plenty of the roofing metal that I got from my buddy this past year to cover the firewood stacks with. So I'll borrow some of that or steal some of that to use for my roofing material. And haven't decided if I'm going to put a door on the front of it yet or not. I've got cameras down here. I'm going to put lights down here. So I may put doors on it. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how that goes as the build continues. But that's what those other pallets are for. And you see these IBC totes that are laying on the ground here. I've tried to give those away, and I got a couple people that say they're interested in a couple of them, but not all of them. So what I've been doing is just cutting them up, and with the Sawzall, folding them down, and the trash service has been picking them up just a couple at a time each week. I didn't want to put them all out there at once, so I'm just putting a couple out at a time. These are the pallets that I still have left to use for the stacks and the firewood rows. And then these are some new totes that I just got this past week from my tote supplier that I'll use for the cages for. But speaking of the pallets, if you watch my video about how to get free pallets, that information is not totally accurate anymore, and I'll tell you why. So when I was deciding that I was going to build this pallet shed for the skid loader, I called my contact that I always get the pallets from. I take the dump trailer down there, I load up a bunch of pallets, I get them for free. He owns a landscaping company, and he's always got pallets stockpiled. So I called him up, I said, hey, I'm interested in some more pallets. When can I come down and grab them? And I got the message that nobody ever wants to hear. And he said that pallets have become a hot commodity. He told me that his supplier for his landscaping blocks are now requiring a deposit for the pallets. And when he's done with the blocks, he has to return the pallets to maintain his deposit. So like everything else, I guess the demand is, I don't know. Seems like pallets are everywhere. There's still people around that give them away, but having that one spot that I could count on to go to and get as many as I want and load up the trailer was a really good deal for me. But now it seems that has come to an end. So those pallets that you saw on my little landscaping trailer back at the house, I actually ended up paying for those. I only paid a couple bucks a piece for them, and they're like brand new pallets. And they're the proper size to finish what I want to do over here. So that's the deal with the pallets now. So tell me what you think about the pallet shed idea, and tell me if anybody's ever built something like this, or thought about building something like this, or knows anyone who has built something like this. I was looking for a shed originally, but the prices of those are really high. And let's be honest, I just bought a skid loader that I didn't plan on buying, so money's a little tight. I'm a retired guy, right? But no, I did some research on these, and I'm pretty confident that I can, basically build the walls out of these pallets. I got some free plywood, and I'll cover the outside of the walls with plywood, paint it, make it look decent, and possibly put a door on it. I'll have a roof with a metal roof on it, so it'll be protecting the skid loader from the elements. But we didn't get a whole lot of work done here today in this video, but I just wanted to bring you up to speed because I'm very anxious to get working on sanding this skid loader and getting some paint on this skid loader. And I'll show you a little bit of that too, but this is a firewood channel. I'm not really sure how interested you'll be in, the sanding and painting process. But once that skid loader is good to go, we're going to be using it out here. I'm excited to have something to move these IBC totes that I use for all my, basically my boiler wood and my chunks and cutoffs. I'll be able to move that stuff nicely now and even load it in the dump trailer. So big changes are going to be coming to the wood yard once this thing is done, which won't be long. I'm going to expedite this process for sure. But I'm going to have to rethink the way I'm doing things here in the yard because having that skid loader is going to be an advantage that I'm not set up to use right now. The way I have my wood stacked, it would be nice to be able to pick up a whole load of wood with the forks and just dump it in the trailer, because last year, you remember when I had firewood orders, I was loading every piece of wood by hand, and that's just not necessary now. So I'm excited. I'm trying to brainstorm and think about what my next move is going to be now that this thing is here. And so please, if you know anything about these shelters, drop it in the comments below. And if you have any ideas on things I should change here, or you know, a transition kind of ordeal with the skid loader, drop your ideas in the comments below. I always like to read those comments. It gives me ideas. Hopefully sometimes I'm able to give you all ideas, but this is a great community. We all share them. So that's going to be it for today. Like I said, we didn't get any work done, but I brought you up to speed on what's going on here, because I kind of hinted to it last week, and I wanted to let you all know that it is actually happening. I did get it, and so you'll be seeing more of that real soon. Have a great week. Hit the subscribe button, click on some of these other videos here on the side, and check those out if you haven't. Tell a friend about the channel, and we will see you on the live stream March 31st at 8 p.m. Have a great week, everybody.